Hi, my name is Emma, and this is a story I never thought I'd live to tell. It's about a single night that changed my life forever. It was a cold, rainy evening. Thunder roared outside, and the wind howled like a wild beast. I was home alone, curled up on the couch with a blanket, a cup of tea, and my favorite book. I lived in a quiet neighborhood where nothing exciting ever happened. That's why I was startled when I heard a loud knock on the door. Who could it be at this hour? I thought. I hesitated for a moment, but then got up and walked to the door. Peeking through the peephole, I saw a man standing there, drenched from the rain. "Who's there?" I called out. "Please," he said, his voice shaky. "I need help. My car broke down." I opened the door slightly, keeping the chain on. The man looked desperate, his face pale and his clothes soaked. He couldn't have been much older than me, maybe in his early 30s. "Can I use your phone?" he asked. I hesitated. Something about him felt off, but the storm was raging, and he looked genuinely helpless. "Wait here," I said, closing the door. I grabbed my phone and handed it to him through the small opening. He tried to make a call, but frowned. "It's not working. The storm must have cut the signal." I didn't know what to do. Should I let him in or send him away into the storm? Against my better judgment, I unlatched the chain and opened the door. "Come in," I said. He stepped inside, dripping water on the floor. "Thank you," he said, giving me a weak smile. I handed him a towel. "You can sit by the fire to warm up," as he dried off. I noticed his hands were trembling. "Do you want some tea?" I offered. He nodded, but something in his eyes made me feel uneasy. I couldn't put my finger on it. While I was in the kitchen, I heard him moving around. I peeked into the living room and saw him looking at the photos on my shelf. "You have a beautiful home," he said. "Thanks," I replied, forcing a smile. As we sat in silence, sipping tea, I decided to ask him some questions. "What were you doing out in this weather?" "I was driving home from work," he said quickly, but his eyes darted away, and I sensed he wasn't telling the truth. "Where do you work?" I asked. He paused, then said, "I'm a mechanic." Something about his answer didn't sit right with me. His hands were too clean for someone who worked with cars all day. After a while, I excused myself and went to the bathroom. But instead of going there, I quietly crept to the front door and looked outside. There was no car on the street. My heart began to race. If his car hadn't broken down, why was he here? I returned to the living room, trying to act normal. "So what's your name?" I asked. "Tom," he replied. But when I glanced at his bag, I saw a name tag sticking out. "Mark." "Tom?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "Or is it Mark?" He froze, his face turning pale. "I can explain," he said quickly. "You'd better," I replied, stepping back toward the kitchen where I had left a knife on the counter. I didn't mean to lie," he stammered. "I just needed a place to stay for the night." "Why?" I demanded. "What are you hiding?" Mark sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "I'm not a mechanic. I'm I'm running from someone. Who? He hesitated before saying, some dangerous people. They're after me because I took something from them. I didn't know whether to believe him or call the police. But before I could decide, there was another knock at the door. Mark's face turned white. Don't open it, he whispered. Why not? They found me. We reached a small cabin deep in the woods. Mark pushed open the door and gestured for me to go inside. You'll be safe here, he said. What about you? I asked. I'll lead them away. Thank you for helping me, Emma. Before I could stop him, he ran off into the darkness. When the sun rose, I made my way back home. Exhausted and scared, my house was a mess, but the intruder were gone. I never saw Mark again, but a week later, I received a letter in the mail. It read, Dear Emma, thank you for your kindness. I made it out safely. I'll never forget what you did for me. You're braver than you know, Mark. To this day, I wonder if Mark truly escaped or if he's still running. Either way, that stormy night taught me that sometimes even strangers can leave a mark on your life forever. If you like this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. See you in next video.